Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good.
Yeah, fine, fine. Mo, this is such an exciting project to be part of. Can you talk me through how you got involved in this first of all, and how exciting it was for you to get the phone call saying you got the part?
Oh, it was really, really exciting. I mean, when I first got the email and I was like going through, just like your everyday audition email, and I was reading and I was like, director Roland Emmerich, filming in Rome, Roman history, and you're playing this gladiator. I was like, oh, I'm sold. I'm sold. I don't care if I get paid for this. I'll do this for free. It's kind of a dream job that you kind of look for. And the process was the worst part because you're sitting down constantly waiting for this phone call and you're hoping that you're going to get it and stuff, but when it did actually happen, it was a surreal moment for me. It was a major moment for me. It was probably the best phone call I've ever received, till
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Johannes, I'm going to ask you the same question basically. What was it like sort of finding out you were part of this?
I mean, yeah, it was so exciting because it's such a great story, great people involved, and it was yeah, a dream come true. It was I couldn't wait to get to Rome, and then when you got there, it was everything you expected, and we got to spend months and months going back and forth, staying in Rome, telling the story, and now we get to see and reap the benefits, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. Mo, your character, Kwame, is one of those characters of people who aren't often represented when you talk about Rome or you talk about ancient Rome. Like he's a Namadian, he's from North Africa, but those kind of people were never really touched upon. What was it really important for you to go back and read up on them and see how you were going to represent him?
Yeah, 100%. And it was probably one of the things that struck me about this show and what really excited me that I was able to kind of represent a character that's not really represented during this time. And when I was doing the research, and then I started to learn the North African influence in the Roman Empire and how not only did they fight in their wars, they also, had a lot to do with just there was a North African emperor that no one really knows about. So doing this research, it kind of really excited me. But just as like personally, I was just like in awe. I was like, wow, we did have a major influence. It kind of made me question, why are we not represented in this world? So when I got to do it, and I know my family is a big part of it in the show, I know it's amazing for me, and it was a beautiful moment for the rest of the cast. Yeah.
Yeah. Johannes, your character and Mo's character are the strike up a friendship more out of necessity than anything else. What was it like working together, Johannes, working with Mo on this and sort of getting to know each other on set?
Well, I mean, it was great. We had to spend a lot of time when we were not filming because we had to rehearse for the fighting scenes. And Mo was actually staying at a different hotel, so I called production and had them move him to my hotel, which he wasn't pleased about at first,
Well, I
but
say,
then he accepted it.
yeah.
But that whole thing was just an enjoyable process. And like you said, in the show, they need to become friends. And that's what I recognized when I read the script, that they're stuck in this situation. But you always need some sort of humanity, and that's what they're grasping at. And they find it in each other. And I thought that was really beautiful.
And
Mo, what are the things about him, about your character, Kwame, that you really appreciate and admire? And what are the things that you think you would have done things possibly differently had you been in that same position?
um, probably his spiritual side, his spiritual side with the animals, his spiritual side within himself and the land that he's on, and how he kind of stands in for what he believes and his family is his priority. What I would have done different is just he's a bit of a loose cannon sometimes. He kind of just reacts without thinking of what he actually wants to do. Even the situation that he gets in, his mom says to him, "Why did you do such thing?" And he said, "Well, I thought I was doing this." And she goes, "You stupid boy." So I would have just maybe kept a bit more of a composure than he does.
Mm. I think my next question is going to be for both of you. What was it like working with Oren, Roland Emmerich, and such a big name, and sort of big sweeping sagas like this. What was it like sort of to get to know what he's about and what he wanted from you?
Well, a pleasant surprise was his level of enthusiasm. I remember on my first day, I know who he is. I was excited to meet him. He's been in this business for decades, but then you show up and he hits the ground running. He's there to work, and his level of enthusiasm and eye for detail is inspiring to everyone. So that was great to feel that and be a part of that.
Yeah, and for me, it's getting to know him as a person, and he really kind of trusted us to do what we thought was right with our characters, and also just as Johannes was saying, just to see him work, and after all these years to still have that energy and that motivation to get things as perfect as possible was the exciting part. And then you have my parents, who you should ask them how they felt about me working with Roland Emmerich after watching his movies for years. But yeah.
Yeah, and you lived on set in Rome during the filming. What was it like sort of to be standing in the same place as what the story you're telling took place there a good 2000 years earlier? But what was it kind of weird, or was it quite exciting?
What a privilege. I mean, when you went to work in the morning, we would drive by the Colosseum. So you'd see it out the car window, like, there's the Colosseum, and then you go to work, and they had built a fresh one. So I mean, it was just crazy being because you don't need to be at the same location, but it's definitely better, and it makes the whole thing richer.
I literally, the moment you step out of the hotel, you're basically on set.
Yeah.
You're just not wearing costumes, but you're practically on set. And it kind of makes it hard to kind of escape the world when you finish working, because then you leave work and you're in the car, and it's like the Colosseum and then the Palatine Hill, and it's like an open museum.
And one other thing was, what was it like working in such a, because it is a huge cast, and it's sometimes you don't really get to work with every single person who is like the main actor in cast. What was it like sort of finding them on set every now and again and just saying hello and knowing what they're about?
I mean, there's still people I haven't met that are in the show. I actually have not met Rupert. I've never met him.
Really?
No, I never met Rupert.
Oh, well, the thing is, like, we all stayed in the same hotel, so even though we wouldn't see each other on set, we would definitely see each other at the hotel at some point, because literally,
well, except me and Rupert.
Except you, avoiding you. I put in a
He was avoiding me.
I said, what's Johannes like? It's like, you don't want to meet him.
I tell him you said hi if I ever get to speak to him.
Yes, please do. Yeah, I'd love to meet him someday.
Finally, this is such an exciting thing to be part of, and obviously the first season. But what are your hopes for the future? What are hopes for the series, and how it's going to be received?
Well, I hope it makes it to at least 10 seasons, because I think that's what we kind of need to sort of deplete what's there. So that's what I hope. In about 10 years' time, we'll be here again discussing season 10.
Yeah.
Mo?
For me, we just hope that the audience really like it, because literally, as you said, it's a very big cast, and everyone really worked their socks off on set. It wasn't the easiest set to be on, because it was such a huge scale set. So just for the audience to love it, and for our hard work to kind of be appreciated, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!